One. Yes, come on, let's get excited, everybody. Where's your excited faces? There we go. He knows what I'm talking about. Bill's the suck up. He's gonna do whatever I tell him to do. Come on, put on, dance like a monkey for me. Okay, let's welcome everyone to Stone Soup. I saw that look. Let's welcome everyone to Stone Soup Poetry. This is the 52nd anniversary. This week marks the 52nd year of Stone Soup's existence since coming into existence back on May 1st, 1971, with the ample help of Jack Powers and friends, some of which have still grace our mic from time to time. Some of them might be coming back from May. We're going to give you announcements as we get them. I'm looking forward to the readings tonight. I'm looking for the readings in the future and for year 53 getting underway. We're going to go through the Ramdonator 5000. Looks like we got a healthy group of people tonight. We'll have it might be a quick mic tonight, but but what the hell? Let's make the most of it. Let's get our first person the Ramdonator has chosen, straight out of New York. Let's welcome up Patricia Kerrigan.
Hi. Okay, one poem. A man and a woman. A man and woman once lived in this house. Their honeymoon sparks ended when they smelled smoke. Their tensions became fire alarmers. Lack of trust and money fueled the flames, made this house uninhabitable. Separation discarded furniture, rugs, picture frames, knickknacks, even walls. This house still stands on charred remains, broken plaster and tile. Watch another rainstorm flood the floor. It's an E-shaped poem. Jared, got the inspiration from Lenny DeRocca from South Florida. He does this witchery thing, and I got the inspiration from him. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Patricia. Any other projects coming out?
For the next installment of Brownstone Post, that would be, I think, May 27th.
Sweet.
We haven't done yet. I'm still in the process of canvassing. And as you know, I'm supposed to be getting my fish tank. I didn't get it today. And they don't always break, because I know people who ordered and they get it intact. So there you go. Some people have bad luck. It's okay. It is what it is. But UPS, it's not out. I thought it was going to be done through Prime, but no, it's being done through Petco, through
Ouch.
UPS, and they suck as shit. Excuse my French.
You never have to excuse a French Canadian for your own French.
Mad.
Exactly. Man.
Okay. Thank you. Good to get it out. I'm very pissed off.
I
I
can
gotta
see
wait
that.
around tomorrow for it. So they said, Amazon said, if I don't get it by May 6th, call them. That's it. And I'm gonna cancel and probably work it out in my neighborhood, go to the aquarium store and spend the money, which I don't want to do, but it is what it is.
I wish you luck.
Thank you.
We have coming up next, I should tell you a fish tank story sometime. Well, the too long don't read version is I kept on trying to, I didn't want to have to pay for a fish tank and a fish. So we went through Craigslist for fish. And I think Patricia's already laughing because she can see where this was going. The person the woman was not of great means. She had at least 5 kids. She was somewhere in Cambridge in like a back street. And the kids didn't even know that the fish were being given away. The tank was so filthy. It was half empty, and then we had to figure out a way to carry the fish, but it was like half full, and there was a dead fish at the bottom amidst the stones. And I
you have to sterilize that tank with the bleach, or even throw it out.
It was crazy, but I swear to God, I swear to God, the dead fish looked at me as if to go,
yeah, that's what they do.
It's bad. It's so bad.
Exactly. That's what happened to Mimi Mamu.
We had like 5. We had 5 fish. 3 fish were left. We had to stick them in little plastic containers we got from Whole Foods. And then by the end of the night, one fish had died, two were somehow still surviving. We had distilled water. I ended up breaking down and buying a $50 tank for them to go in, and those two fish lasted us almost 10 years.
Yeah,
They
because
were-
usually
one was
you
a-
have to
one was a-
medicate, usually you have to medicate the water first when you bring a new fish.
That's what you try
And
to do.
also,
Yeah.
if it's also good, a tablespoon of Epsom salts for 5 gallon.
I never tried that. We always did the distilled water in the jugs, but the craziest thing is like one was a goldfish and one was actually looked like a silver fish, like a silver brand. But then come to find out it was so filthy, and then we had two goldfish because basically whatever was on it, whatever film was on it, cleaned off. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, usually you got to check the perimeters also, because
You had a dirty fish.
It was crazy. It was a dirty fish. We called it Smoky, and even after it stopped being gray, we still called it Smoky. And the gold one that was gold from the start was gold in my ear. They lasted until that 2015 blizzard, and that we had in ball. It wasn't 2013. They
That's
lasted
pretty good.
until then, and then I had the unenviable position of trying to find a storm drain to give them a Viking funeral because we didn't want to flush them down the toilet.
No, you have to bury them. You don't put them because you mess up the ecosystem.
I know. It
'Cause
was-
I bury my fish in this tree here.
Unfortunately, we didn't have.
It grows, the tree's doing beautifully, my palm tree.
Unfortunately, we didn't have a tree and we didn't have soil to dig up. It was pretty
Mm.
bad with the blizzard weather. But
Yeah,
anyway, I've taken up too much time. Let's
That's
go to
okay.
someone who's
Let me
chomping
shut
at the
up
bit.
and mute myself.
Let's go to someone who's chomping at the bit. Let's welcome up Bill Lewis.
Happy today. I am so happy that I'm here. If I weren't here, who knows where I would be? And this is clearly the right thing. So I am just totally psyched. I have a wonderful piece that I wrote a number of years ago. I must warn you, if you are triggered by anything, this might be advisable for you to turn off your videos, because this is a stirring tale of adventure, intrigue, and danger, entitled "Give Me My Hat." Based on a true story, text by Uncle Bill. One fine day, while James and Evans were quietly playing in the computer room with their friend Kevin, Uncle Bill called up. He was coming to visit. It was always
Well,
a
I
good
forget
thing
how
when
much it
Uncle Bill
was.
came. Because Uncle Bill didn't have any hair. Because he didn't have any hair, he always had to wear a hat, and that, of course, is what this story is about. So Evan, James, and Kevin made a clever plan to steal Uncle Bill's hat. "Hello," said Uncle Bill to Father Frank and Mother Stacy. "Hello," said Father Frank and Mother Stacy. "Now," yelled Evan, and he jumped out from behind the door and grabbed Uncle Bill's hat. "Stop, you thief!" screamed Uncle Bill, and he jumped out and chased him. Uncle Bill ran after Evan as Evan ran off with his hat. Evan handed the hat off to Kevin, who was waiting by the computer door. Uncle Bill spun around and caught Evan by the toenails. However, Evan did not actually give the hat to Kevin. He kept it on a sneaker play. He only pretended to hand it off. Then Evan dashed to the end of the hallway and tossed the hat to James. "Give me my hat," cried Uncle Bill, and he lifted Kevin into the air and spun him around. "I don't have your hat," said Kevin, and Uncle Bill checked Kevin out. "No hat. Uncle Bill has been fooled." "You have my hat," yelled Uncle Bill, and turned to Evan. "Nope, yeah, said Evan, and stuck out his tongue. But Uncle Bill was fast. He ran around to the edge of the counter and grabbed for Evan. Too late. Evan dashed around the counter and into the center of the kitchen. Uncle Bill made a tight corner and brushed Evan's shirt with his outstretched hand, almost. After 2 laps, Evan was still out in front. But Uncle Bill stopped suddenly, spun around in his heels in the reverse direction, and started after Evan from the opposite direction. Evan tried to stop, but no, he ran right into Uncle Bill. "I've got you now," cried Uncle Bill, and threw Evan up into the air. "Give me my hat." "I don't have your hat," laughed Evan. "I gave it to James." Uncle Bill tickled Evan's armpits. No hat there. He tickled Evan's belly. No hat there. He even tickled Evan's feet. No hat there either. Ha ha ha, laughed Evan. We did it again. We tricked Uncle Bill. And poor Uncle Bill had to visit all night with a bald head. But all was not well in the world, for at this very moment, a massive fleet of evil aliens was descending on the planet Earth. The evil aliens had become invisible and spied on the innocent Earth children. Look at that, said evil alien number one. Those kids are having fun. We can't do that. You're right, agreed EA number two. We're going to have to stop this terrible fun thing at once. The evil aliens flew around and looked for Earthlings to help them. They found 3 very unhappy people who didn't like kids. One was a doctor, a dentist, and a teacher. It's not healthy for kids to have fun, said the unhappy doctor. It's not good for their teeth to have candy, said the unhappy dentist. It's not good for their grades to go play outside, said the unhappy teacher. But one unhappy doctor and one unhappy dentist and one unhappy teacher cannot change the world alone, said the unhappy doctor and the unhappy dentist and the unhappy teacher all together. Then we shall have to make all the doctors and dentists and teachers unhappy, cried the evil aliens. We can fly around the world and land on people's heads, said EA1. And then we can put our electrodes into their brains, said EA2. And we will control them, they gleefully chortled. First thing to do was to disable the army. So the evil aliens flew around the world and zapped all of the soldiers. They took all of the jobs in the military industrial complex, and soon the army could not do anything without 6,000 forms printed in triplicate. Now they searched everywhere for doctors, dentists, and teachers, and when they found them, they landed on their heads and inserted electrodes into their brains. They landed on the doctors. All the doctors became unhappy and decided that fun was not healthy. They landed on the dentists, who decided that candy was not good for children. They landed on the teacher, who decided that recess was bad. All of the school nurses in all the world became unhappy and decided that cuts had to be cleaned out with lots and lots of iodine. Nurses looked really weird with the aliens sitting on their heads too. When all of the dentists, doctors, and teachers had been told the parents how bad everything was, the parents were convinced that fun and candy and playing was evil. And all the kids were bummed. There was nothing to do with any fun. Evan was bummed out, and James was bummed out, and Kevin was too. So was Scotty and Joshua and Sam and everybody. Even Uncle Bill was unhappy. When he came over to visit, he too had an evil alien on his head. James and Evans were so unhappy they didn't even bother to try to steal his hat. Uncle Bill sat with Father Frank and complained all night. This was terrible. Uncle Bill never used to complain about anything. Now he was just as miserable as any other adult. Oh, what the heck, said Evan, and grabbed Uncle Bill's hat. It was stuck. It wouldn't come off. Evan pulled really hard and pop, off came the evil alien and out came the electrodes. Oh no, yelled Father Frank. Oh my, screamed Mother Stacy. Miserable, cried Uncle Bill, who was rolling around the floor, bouncing up and down and acting as if an evil alien had just zapped him with 20,000 volts. You have destroyed all my beautiful wickedness, cried the evil alien. Now I will make you pay. Oh no, yelled Evan. Wow, said James. Said Uncle Bill. I'm going to make you even more unhappy than I am, said the evil alien. But why, asked James. Can't you just be happy like we are? Do you think you could be happy when somebody draws you to look like a hat? Said the evil alien. I guess not, said Evan. You bet, said the evil alien. But we are going to fool you anyway, said Evan. Yes, said James. We come to the final exciting conclusion. I don't think so, said the evil alien. Run, yelled J. Evan, who started to run. Oh, no, you don't, cried the evil alien who started after him. Also, youth, cried Uncle Bill, who jumped up and grabbed the evil alien by the electrodes. The evil alien zapped Uncle Bill with 900 gazillion volts. But Uncle Bill hung on. Brave old Uncle Bill. He flapped around sort of like a chicken on a string that made funny sounds like, but he held on anyway, and Evan and James made their getaway. Evan ran to all the doctor's offices and pulled off the evil aliens from their heads. James went to all the dentists and pulled off the evens for their heads. And they all ran to the school and told all the kids, and the kids pulled all the evil alien on the teachers' heads, even the evil alien on the nurse head, who just looked just as weird without the evil aliens. Oh, well. This was too much for the evil aliens, who gave up on the whole deal and decided to leave. Earth is a stupid name for a planet anyway, said EA1. Yeah, said EA2. All the kids were happy. The doctor prescribed fun. The dentist gave all the kids lots of candy and promised them free wooden teeth. The teachers decided to make the first 3 hours of school recess. Everyone was happy. The mayor of Menlo Park gave special awards to Evan and James for saving the city. They got to eat ice cream every night for 6 weeks, play on the computer until 3 a.m., and they were invited onto the Jay Leno and David Letterman shows. Everything was wonderful. And now, every time that Uncle Bill visits, he makes sure to check his hat at the door. I wrote this for James and Evan when they were 6 and 8 years old, because every time I would come into the house, they'd sneak up and steal my hat, and we'd run around and chase the hat thing. And so there it is, my magnus opus.
No kidding. Thank you so much, Bill. We're gonna bring it. Looks like we have one guest who's trying to make her way in. Looks like, give me 1 sec. Whoop. Okay, good. We got one guest who's trying to make her way in. I am going to bring it now over to Jan Rowe.
Hi, I'm actually going to read something by Robert Frost, Putting in the Seed. I'm unmuted, right?
Yep.
Because this poem reminds me of one of my favorite cartoon characters, Foghorn Leghorn and Chicken Hawk. And if anybody's ever planted peas, you'll know what I mean. And the way they come up, they look like they got shoulder pads on, like football players. So this is Robert Frost, Putting in the Seed. You come to fetch me from my work tonight when supper's on the table, and we'll see if I can leave off burying the white soft petals fallen from the apple tree. Soft petals, yes, but not so barren quite, mingled with these smooth beans and wrinkled peas, and go along with you ere you lose sight of what you came here for and become like me, slave to a springtime passion for the earth. How love burns through the putting in the seed, on through the watching for that early birth, when just as the soil tarnishes with weed, the sturdy seedling with arched body comes shouldering its way and shedding the earth crumbs. Thank you, Robert Frost. Oh.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just putting in the password that'll get
Good old Bobby Frost.
okay. Carol Weston will be joining us very shortly. Oh, all right. Looks like we had an issue. So we're going to bring it over now to Magister Galt. You just have to unmute yourself. There you go. All right.
Okay. Here we go. This one is one I bring out every anniversary of Stone Soup. It's called The One Great Thing in honor of Jack Powers. When I was a child, maybe around 7, I would spend all day long watching the broadcast of Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. Grandpa told me in the car that it was the first time anybody had ever walked on the moon. On the radio, I heard LBJ talk of ending poverty one day. I heard the things people had to say, and I wanted to be president or the guy that walked on the moon. I wanted to do the one great thing. One little step for man, one big step for mankind. That kind of thing. I'd cure some disease like polio, as did Jonas Salk, or write something like Grapes of Wrath. I'd be invited on TV to talk. I'd be in the history books. At parties, people would gather around me and ask me what I thought about stuff. Years passed, and somewhere along the way, people let go of their dreams and ideals, pursuing money in their careers, Subarus and McMansions. One guy couldn't remember how many houses he had. The dynasty decades. I took the train to work each day, thankful simply to have a job to go to. I would listen to what the folks had to say about their stock options and level of pay. I opened up the Boston Globe and saw a picture of the man who swept the sidewalks in the North End. The article was about a man who never gave up on the dreams. He started kitchens for seniors to eat, organized programs for learning to read, even free concerts on the Boston Common. It said he gave his own coats or gloves to those who were cold or in need, and with little thought to himself. And memories of my own dreams of the one great thing came rushing back. And who was it really for? Not one thing, but each thought and each act is like a raindrop baptizing us all in the holiness of life and all the possibilities of what can be, of what we can be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Magister Galt. I'm going to bring it over now to Nancy Dodson, who can unmute herself by pressing *6. About time we hear from her. There you go.
Nature, stunning large nature around us. Delicious pears envelop the trees, ready to eat. One's dry mouth fills with sumptuous pieces of fruit. Then the dog eats the pear, fallen on the ground. The dog licks and licks his mouth. Then he runs up the hill with trees laden with fruit. I walk after the dog, for he's munching another pear. The juice surrounds the dog's jaw. What a breakfast you eat. Illness comes. Come home, doggy.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Up next, we're gonna bring it over to, we have more people coming. Someone just asked if they could read. My answer is yes. We're gonna bring us now to someone who's here from earlier. Let's welcome up Mr. Robert Fleming.
Good evening. Would I be able to use the share screen?
Let me get that taken care of.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Robert Fleming, a writer and graphic artist from Delaware. And I'm going to share a submission I'm preparing for Fevers of the Mind, which is having a tribute to Joni Mitchell. She was one of the most successful female singers, songwriters in the 1960s. And I'm going to share the piece that I'm preparing, which is the most experimental. One of her songs was called Big Yellow Taxi. And I'm creating an audio submission where Joni would order a taxi. So I'm going to try to use this software called Natural Reader, and I've selected a woman's voice to read the order for the taxi. First, I'm going to play it and tell me whether you can hear it or not.
Joni Mitchell. A&M Studios, 1416 North Lottery. 82. Name of the piano. Send a big yellow taxi. Now.
So that was one part of my submission. Did people hear the audio?
It was a little broken, but more or less, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I look forward to submitting that. And I wanted to share that this month, my chapbook, Conway, will be published by Four Feathers Press. Hopefully sometime this month. Greetings from Delaware.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. And now, as while Brian Franco is getting himself situated, we're going to bring it over to, we're going to ask her to unmute. Actually, I'm going to help unmute her. And now, as while Brian Franco is getting himself situated, we're going to bring it over to, okay, I'm not sure why. Help unmute her. Now, as while Brian Franco is getting himself situated. Make sure everyone else, make sure you keep yourselves on mute as well. Thank you. If you're not speaking. And now it looks like we're all set, and Carol Weston can begin.
Oh, okay. So this is this is my essay, What the Poet Expects of Himself. It's to my great love, Tambi Mutu, editor of Poetry London, New York, all the greatest poets of the 60s. How is it that a voice will rise from the depths of a man with a musical power greater than that of any voice he knows to be his own? Can a man live close to that voice? Can he equip himself to live close to that voice and still maintain a sense of balance, his sense of direction, his maximum consciousness, his ability to function, if only on a minimal level, and his certainty to some extent of his survival. How can he, while maintaining proximity to that voice, maintain also the strength to see with utmost directness objects and events in his own immediate experience? How can he also maintain the strength to envision with utmost immediacy events and persons beyond his immediate experience? How can he maintain as well constant communication with voices of the past and objectivity toward the voices of his contemporaries and a sense of responsibility to the future? There are many fallen poets. There are many men who have exacted from themselves more than they have been able to give. They are bent low with the burden of an almost impossible conception of perfection that follows them, however they may attempt to confront or evade it. The magic of the voice within them has been felt, and they are committed, but despite their conscious effort to live close to it, they find themselves slipping away on a sort of self-destructive, self-protective conveyor belt. On this, they are conveyed to a land where events of the immediate present are overshadowed by the haunting beauty and clarity of the past, a land where action seems no longer meaningful and where love is like the chloroforming of a butterfly. These men, bent low with the burden of once having known beauty, examine with aching half-consciousness the paralysis of their hands, now alienated from their control, ostensibly ineffective and social and morally helpless. They endure the bruised but enormous expectation they had of themselves. It is their nobility, and they never forgive themselves the lack of strength to fulfill it. And of course, this is to all women as well. I'm halfway through. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. And now, if Generalissimo Brian Franco can unmute, he can have his turn now. You're up, sir.
Okay, can I do like 3 shorter poems? Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay, all 3 of these poems are from my book, Everything I Think Is On My Mind, and the last one was just accepted for publication in the Moonstone Arts Poems from Your Psyche anthology. And that and there's going to be a reading for that on Sunday. I just found out about that today, so bear with me 1 second. Where did I have it up? Here we go. The first poem is called They Call Me Hurricane Brain. All my nerves are last nerves. Finality exists as faulty serotonin snipers, missing targets trying to hit bullseyes. They attempt to cross a bridge, but the bridge was cut open by a Category 5 hurricane, now sitting broken in Mobile Bay with a 1/8 mile gap, concrete, asphalt, and rebar at the bottom of the bay where crabs used to crawl. The engineers must decide whether it is feasible to repair rather than replace, but according to the science of bridge architecture, once a bridge breaks, no band-aids or plaster casts can put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Pills are but a tool in an intricate toolbox serving as band-aids for broken bridges, where serotonin tries to connect us to happiness, but can't always curtail the most common disease in the world, which consists of lost nerves with finality. The next poem is called The Afterlife of a Tear. Every tear I cry tears a hole in my brain to reserve a place for a memory to reside. Sometimes certain memories decide to burrow a little further than the others, So when they get remembered, they have to be triggered. Sometimes someone will commit a crime against me I forgot I had previously experienced, and I see the previous perpetrator's face in the current perpetrator's face, which might make me scream loud enough to make them go deaf. There are memories we want to remember forever. There are memories not consequential to keep forever. Then there are memories that hide away in their burrowed holes that leave permanent residue in our souls called trauma. Finally, this last one is the one that was just accepted for publication. It's called Bleeding. When I get cut, my blood flows from my skin like lava from Kilauea. Sometimes I need more than direct pressure to make it stay inside. Sometimes I bleed recollections my subconscious decides it's time to say goodbye to. Ones it held onto, forming grudges on the inside walls of my personality that have aged enough to naturally decay and chip away into history. Sometimes I bleed bits and pieces of my childhood I have hoarded away to create an inflatable stunt mattress to break the fall of challenges and traumas of adulthood. Sometimes fear forming inconsolable tears when words are not available to wrap my soul in warmth, when I've slipped and fallen into consequential hypothermia. Sometimes my blood is made from words that form when my tears and thoughts pool together into poetry. When that happens, my blood no longer belongs to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Franco. I'm going to bring it on over to musical interlude. Cece, if you're with us, let us know. I haven't heard anything from you. We haven't seen your camera, so I'm not sure if you're back or from wrapping up or not. But for now, let's have Ethan Mackler give us a little musical interlude.
Hey.
Thank you, Mr. Mackler. And up next, let us welcome up Cece. Are you available? If not, we'll go over to Mr. Loy. Okay. I guess that's a big construction project, whatever Cece's doing. So we're gonna go now to, that's what he said he was doing. I'm not even joking. Let's welcome up, I guess we'll go to the second round robin and give Cece more time if he wants it, but let's close things out now with Mr. James Van Loy.
Thanks, Chad. So I have this a book here by a poet named Phyllis Sawyer, and it's called Old Leaflets for Shopping Lists and Rashly Written Poems, and it is Stone Soup Poetry number 23.
Wow.
And it has this cover here of actually all this old newsprint montage with, for example, Nixon fires Cox, Richardson quits. Or, for example, unions demonstrate against phony fuel shortage, or Cox's ouster ruled illegal, no reinstatement ordered, or Laird approved false reporting of secret raids. Mitchell stands, goes on trial here. That was, of course, the Attorney General who was eventually put on trial during that period of time. So just to show you, nothing ever changes in some ways. This is a poem called Darning a Transcendental Stocking. Darning a Transcendental Stocking. In New England, where thrift is part of social conscience and rich people take their liberalism seriously, and we all think and act a little like peasants, I once was a neighbor to a woman who stuffed her pillows with pantyhose. So I bought some pantyhose, which I never liked very much, till I realized it was going to cost me $60 to stuff one pillow, and I couldn't afford all that thrift. But anyway, poets as peasants are required to clothe their thoughts in special images, certainly in New England, to get around the obscenity laws. So they must own enough property, even old and run down, to keep their poems at least in underwear, because these winters are long. Although this week, and throwing out a lot of my old clothes and gritting my teeth and refusing to send them back to St. Joseph's and St. Gerard's thrift shop and Morgan Memorial and the Salvation Army, and having the courage to defy the Yankee in me, who kept saying, "How can you waste all that?" And I only kept saying, "I don't want to meet anyone coming down the street clothed in my pain." And ever since, I've felt lighthearted. I felt better. But I still like junk collectors and, of course, poets. And I don't mind anyone being lavish, as long as he's not lavish with brutality. And here's a quick song.
Oh, that's great.
Tiptoe to the window, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me. Tiptoe from your pillow to the shadow of the willow tree, and tiptoe through the tulips with me. Knee deep in flowers we'll stray, we'll keep the showers away. And if I hold you in the garden, in the moonlight, will you pardon me and tiptoe through the tulips with me? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, Cece. Excellent. I don't know if you heard me calling you in the background, but we were just about to start the second round of the round robin. But if you want to finish the first, you are
Sure.
welcome to.
Excellent. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, there's construction going on at the house and the workers just left and we had to wrap up. So, yeah, happy anniversary, Stone Soup, 52 years. And happy anniversary to James Van Lloyd too, because I think you've been coming for 52 years or at least close to it. Almost. I heard that. Lip reading. Anyway, thank you for everyone for keeping this going all these years. And one of these days, the 45th anniversary with Ken Fields and Blake Newman and Funk Physics, somewhere on tape. I hope that becomes something that will be that you guys could put together and maybe use it as some sort of an event where we could raise some money for Stone Soup. That I would like that to happen, but I don't know. I'll get to it. So the Jack of Poets is appropriate from the book. For those of you who remember from Scared Sacred, Death of Inigo, What Manner of Character, that book is now here. And there's all kinds of great things happening. I've been getting interviews in India. I did one about everything that was a poet, everything about being a poet except being a poet, all the other stuff you've done with your life. And then there was a guy in Washington, quintessential listening, poetry. I started a podcast that hasn't been released called The Word Show. I just produced an event last Saturday that was an incredible success that took 7 months to pull off. It was poets from around the world, around the nation, and inside a library hybrid. It was quite the thing. And keep in touch with me on that. And all I got to ask you to do, rather than talk anymore and just read a poem, is that for those of you interested, that's just myname.com website. And I'll try to do better at keeping that thing up to date, but that would be better than listing a bunch of crap. The open mic, Jack of Poets. The Jack of Poets dealt with the art of voices feeding you at the end of all moments that die. To guard hunger's right to speak free of truths starving, a recipe to savor the heart of time. The air of soup gives, as the winds of words carry. And they came one by one to this word of mouth feast. Each came to add to the soup's endless giving. Amongst them were those with end of the world ears, questions on madness, on what peace of mind is, for sounds of hope birthing, and the soul of words resting deep inside the life of inspiring alive. And so came the contributors with the gift of precious listening. Not hungry to share, just happy to donate. No need for a portion of speaking one's poetry. Others to read, saying, I'm hungry enough to be here my will, eating my own words, to stay the crest of my deaths resting here upon this stage. To crave what reveals my mind to myself, for you, and for me, and for the blank page awaiting what is empty. Admitting my donation here is more than my presence, less than my pride, and beyond my self-importance. As listeners surround our voices to hear, through the quiet of mind receiving, I'd never think so much of my life position, to believe that my life will, to believe my life will, to believe my life will never know such a hunger, admiring. What courage to admit words in public, to know nothing and the hand of the voice can still feed you. As the Jack of Poets once said, they are willing to be scared, to give and receive their love exposed fears, alive for some living to nourish the lone soul of you and the soul of the planet we die on. Jack Powers, I love you forever. And Stone Soup, I love you forever. And thank you Chad and every single poet who has ever read in 52 years and will ever read for the next millennia. Let's just go with that.
That's a lofty vision. I don't even know where we're gonna be next week.
There you go. Well, you know, I go one breath at a time, so I stretch that too.
Fair enough. Going back to the first of the round robin people, let's welcome back Patricia Kerrigan.
All right, guess what? The delivery is now May 9th, May 4th to May 9th.
Oof.
Yeah. Okay, never mind that. Let's go on and have some poetry here. Since Robert read something about Joni Mitchell, I have a poem I wrote back in 2020, Paid Paradise, inspired by Joni Mitchell's Big Yellow Taxi. This habitat, once protected by stately oaks and birches, wildflowers and blueberry bushes, was sold to developers. They put up signs, cleared every iota of flora and fauna, called it paradise. Land for condominiums, parking lots, roadways, and shopping centers. For car clutter, loud music, smartphone chatter, and fast food trash. For tiny potted plants and a few sickly sticks called trees. A songbird with a crushed throat lay by a discarded French fry box. I held its body, felt human torpor, burn my palm. And last, a recent one, I just rewrote it. The Moment, inspired by Kenny G. It's more like uplifting one here. A negative moment cuts your psyche, adds another scar inside your head. Disruption needs ibuprofen. You think you'll never see sunrise, folds fear into origami birds. A positive moment rises at dawn. Your psyche becomes the wind. On your saxophone, you take deep breaths, extend wings like origami birds. Thank you. Just rewrote it today.
Thanks, Patricia. And now a haiku from Bill Lewis. I'm joking, but whatever Bill Lewis has, Bill Lewis wrote.
The first poem that I ever remember composing, I was in 4th grade and we were doing a costume party and I was really into Peter Pan at the time. Tick-tock, my name is Croc. I am a crocodile. I'd love to stay a while. I ate the hand of a great big crook. The crook's name was Captain Hook. And there is my first venture into the world of poetry at the age of 10.
And he hasn't stopped since. Very good. And now let's welcome up now Miss Jan Rowe, if she's willing to come back.
Okay. I'll spare you more dismal stuff about Tennessee. And I don't know, let's see. I just got a first draft about Daniel Ellsberg, but that's just one draft. But this one thing has been, this might be the second or third. It's called The Coal Company Store. Coal company stores, suspicions arose of anyone buying elsewhere. And my mom remembered the company store. And decades later, she loved to order from Pittsburgh Press Sunday mag paper, the big Pittsburgh department stores, Joseph Horn and Kaufman, she'd order stuff. Now, her great-grandfather, George Flint, he even had to buy his blasting supplies at the company store as a blasting miner. Now, most of my ancestors worked until they died, retirement not possible, and sometimes literally died. That great-great-grandfather, George Flint, 1858 to 1919, he was blasting at Bracenell, a mine in Southwest PA near my hometown of Brownsville. So actually, there was no funeral or burial necessary. He was blown to smithereens, literally worked until he died. Oh, I don't know if that's much brighter. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, God. All right, and now we bring ourselves to the Magister Galt. If he is ready, if you are ready, sir.
Yes. Well, this is kind of an old one, and consider it's quite from the early 90s, and this is how long all this has been going on, at least. So this is called Apology. I don't know whether I read this here or not, but I read it in Brownstone. I remember that. It's called Apology. I'm sorry that I passed you by today when you asked me for that $1. I turned away. I couldn't spare so much as a dime. I pass you every day. You are a constant reminder of the restructuring and downsizing of our times, a winner in the anti-lottery. To see you there, I would have to look down, and they tell you never to look down when climbing a cliff. We were all climbing a cliff these days. I simply can't afford to see you way down there, looking up to me for help that I can't give. Nothing a dime would cover, or even $1. You know I'm not that much better off. I see you in my possible self someday, my probable self, my definite self. There is really nothing more for me to say. I'm sorry I passed you by today, as I had done so many times before. Tomorrow I will try to see you there. We'll try to see you there. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Galt. And now let's have Nancy Dotson unmute herself.
I wish dog pup. I wish I had a poodle puppy blue with pink spots. I wish he loved me with a lick on each cheek. I wish you would cling to me because poodles are social animals. I wish you would protect me, growl, bark all the way. I wish you would never bite me. I wish you would never soil or tear the rug. I wish you would wake up from his nap and play with me. I wish he would push the ball with his nose. I wish he would play catch just as dogs do. I wish he could multiply himself into 3 adorable balls of fur. Then I would be satisfied from wishing.
Thank you, Nancy. And now we go back to Mr. Fleming, who, if he needs to share the screens, I've already put up the permissions.
Thank you. I'm Robert Fleming. I'm going to be submitting and sharing another tribute to Joni Mitchell. Again, this is her picture. And the tribute is to a song on the album Ladies of the Canyon the song is called Blue Boy. And the line is, but the statue in her garden, he always looked the same. And my poem is called Pinocchio at the Pianstrada Marble Quarry. It is inspired by a statue made by Michelangelo, the David. And it is written in Italian and in English. I will do the Italian first. Pinocchio alla cava di marmo di Pietrasanta. La can di David e di marmo. Tutto sio che David fa e Pazzaro. La can di Michelangelo e pelle. La can di David e pelle. Tutto sio che Michelangelo vuole e David. La can di Michelangelo e di marmo. And now the English version. Pinocchio at the Pietrasanta Marble Quarry. David's flesh is marble. All David does is pose. Michelangelo's flesh is skin. David's flesh is skin. All Michelangelo wants is David. Michelangelo flesh is marble. Thank you. And that was the first writing I ever did in Italian.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna unmute and bring it over one more time to Miss Carol Weston. You should be unmuted now, Carol. Carol? Didn't think she would step away. Carol, are you there?
Carol, are you there?
All right. So I guess in lieu of Carol, we'll head on over to, we'll bring it over to Mr. Brian Franco. Okay.
Already, I'm here. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was going to be so soon. So let me go ahead. I'm going to do 3 short poems again. The first is a duplex poem. I'm going to explain what that means, but I'll just read it to you, which is a form poem. It's called Because Sometimes Deciding to Drown Can Only Lead to Living or Maybe Loving. I couldn't help myself from drowning as I stared into your Gulf of Mexico eyes. When you stared into my soul with your Gulf of Mexico eyes, all I could do was tread water to stay afloat. As I haplessly treaded water to stay afloat, your clean, soft-spoken voice bound my ankles with chains. Your clean, soft-spoken voice bound my ankles with chains, and I felt infatuation pulling me under. As I was pulled underwater surreptitiously by this infatuation, I was awed by sunlit prisms of aqua and teal. Sunlit prisms of aqua and teal awed me, and though fully submerged, I breathed like a mermaid or maybe a merman. I was a breathing merman submerged fully, and there you were smiling at me and conversing with me. As I conversed with you and smiled back at you, I couldn't help myself from drowning. The second poem is a sonnet. Ooh, sonnet. That was not fun to do, which is called Op Arson. Only if I should choose to kiss your lips rather than to shyly say goodnight. With the slightest touch of your fingertips, blood zooms through my veins at the speed of light. I inhale you, fating myself to faint. Your rapid breath fuels the beat of my heart. My passion has found a path not so quaint, with no finish and never-ending starts. Your scent is but one thing I shall obsess, and your love has found its way to my soul. My love for you shall never more digress, lest I bury my heart amongst the shoals. But such a spade I shall never require, because our love is an eternal fire. And the last poem is concerning the recent mass shooting in Dadeville, Alabama, at a birthday party. It's called Elegy were 16 candles. Dear sweet 16, your birthday party was not supposed to be a surprise party. I heard your grandmother baked a hummingbird cake. Did everyone there sing happy birthday? Did you get to blow out the candles on the cake? There's a rumor your brother switched regular candles with the candles that didn't blow out. It wasn't supposed to be a surprise party. There wasn't supposed to be an indoor fireworks show of gunfire. It wasn't supposed to be the subject of a sheriff's press conference. I wonder if the candles were lit and if the cake survived. I wonder if the joke candles became a candlelight vigil before anyone else knew what happened. I wonder how long it took for someone to wet their fingertips to extinguish the candles. Gracias, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Franco. And I'm gonna check to see if Carol's available. See if she just stepped out. Carol, are you there? Okay. So I guess we're going back to the musical interlude now with Mr. Mackler. Mr. Ethan Mackler, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mackler. And now we do have a new person reading at the end. Kathleen, I got your message. And for now, we're going to move into Mr. James Van Loy for his second round.
Okay. So I have a piece here called July 2001. It all comes down to this. Tomorrow, before sunrise, all 5 of the planets visible with our unaided naked eye will have swung by in one night. We just went through the election that was anything but a normal election, and then the inauguration of the president-elect, who has become the on-president, or at least just the president of the 1%. Every day is a new atrocity where the horror never ends, as Mom used to say. It's the 4,000-year-old war against everybody who just doesn't want to fight anymore that's managed to rekindle itself by this swift outburst into a surprising vigor of new life. No wonder Mars, so militant, marched after Scorpio across such a deep, dark summer sky. And I have this song here. I came upon a child of God. He was walking along the road. And I asked him, where are you going? And this he told me. I'm going down to Yasker's farm. I'm going to join in a rock and roll band. I'm going to camp out on the land. I'm going to get my soul free. We are stardust. We are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. And can I walk beside you? I have come to lose the smog, and I feel to be a cog in something burning. Or maybe it's just the time of year, or maybe it's the time of man. I don't know who I am, but you know life is for learning. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. By the time we got to Woodstock, we were 500,000 strong, and everywhere there was song and celebration. And I dreamed I saw the bombers riding shotgun in the sky, and they were turning into butterflies above the nation. We are stardust, billion-year-old carbon. We are golden, caught in the devil's bargain, and we got to get ourselves back to the garden. So that's Joni Mitchell.
Very nice. Thank you, James. Up next, second to last on our round robin, let's bring back Mr. CCS Chagra.
You want to try and see if Carol's here still?
Let me double check. You're right, I should double check.
Carol, are you there?
Carol, are you there? Carol, are you
name-
there?
Her name flashed, or do you do that?
That's me, unfortunately,
Okay.
but I'm not sure where she is. She may have just stepped out, but
Okay, well, in the spirit of song, I like lyrics, so I'm going to read a couple lyrics instead of poems. This is the future of water. The future of water, the future of sunlight, the future of air you may breathe. The presence of your hands, the presence of your words, the present is your thoughts, our deeds. So what are you doing to this world's tomorrow, to our universal earth seed? Do you think your fears claim right an eternity of God fights to damn the diverse human being? Why damn the water and sunlight and air? Why reign over life to only leave ruins here? The children will come into all that we leave them as slavery, waste, and machines. The children may come to be ways that we rear them with righteous, safe fears and disease. The diseases of water, the diseases of sunlight, the disease in the air we believed. As the presence of our hands and the presence of our words deny, we fuel killing with greed. The morning is coming. We're hungry and thirsty. And why? Why should clean air and water and sunlight be yours and not mine? As if sharing means not enough natural resources for all. Till the future of human means warring is all we're good for. The future of water, the future of sunlight, the future of air, may you breathe. The presence of our hands, the presence of our words, the present is our thoughts, our deeds. And the other one is Forever Hums. And every now and then I've been doing, for the very first time, I've been writing a song on Facebook Live. For ever since maybe November or December, I give it another shot. That's a different one. That's a long one. This is Forever Hums. I'll sing the first verse, I'll risk it, and then I'll read it. Life is only death, but not forever. Rivers only waters, not dry bones. You see, love is only everything's a miracle, and you and I the song forever hum. Noon is only midnight as the world dreams. Time is only clocks not broken yet. A knife is just a tool, a useful, kind one, that no one ever needs to harm true love with. A man is just a womb without a gravestone, a child only tears that wait to laugh. And aging, just a series of soul lessons, as if all moments equal a lifespan. While hunger is the price of dreams become form, thirst reminds the oceans they're not sky. And eyes and ears are always learning to feel further than you see why you are here. While the ground of love is only all the sky knows, where sight becomes how beauty can let the blind see, where visions lift the heart up and rest in peace there, where you can catch your last breath and walk your soul home. Life is only death, but not forever. Rivers only waters, not dry bones. You see, love is only everything's a miracle, and you and I, the song forever hums. I need a singer and a band to, like a lot of lyric writers, you just need someone to actually do it. And I love, love, love Joni Mitchell. What a great choice. What a great choices she made in life as an artist, as a being, as a musician. She made an amazing amount of choices that most artists don't. So thanks for bringing up Joni Mitchell. Carol, where are you? Kathleen's next. Can't hear you, Chad.
I was just calling Carol. One last call, Carol?
Yes.
Okay, there we
Yes.
go.
Yay!
I'll continue with The Poet Expects It itself. I guess it was sort of published about 6 times, and so anyway, burdened with expectation of himself, no one knows if he has the strength to fulfill it. It is not for anyone to prejudge the extent of their strength, while a million factors within himself and without, the possible poet must walk in his own direction. He must accept the burden of the gift when he receives it. Even the brilliance of his perception will never guarantee its endurance. The poet must not allow what he expects of himself to paralyze his powers. The possible poet walking in his own direction may at first be like an almost blind mole digging into the darkness. He may be criticized for his inept action or for no action at all. He may be condemned as a failure by society long before the moment of his birth. Myopic and with a sense of wonder, he descends into the darkness. His vision is only as long as the channel that he digs. His myopia in the darkness will teach him by touch the universal laws of existence. On reaching water, if he reaches it, he will, as it were, break through to the source of communal perception, and light will stream into the dark channel of his personal discovery. This is the moment of the voice. This is the beginning, what the poet expects of himself. Thank you.
I just got to say, wow. Carol, I love you. I miss you. We got to call soon. I'm going to call soon. Thank you. Thank you. Happy anniversary.
Thank you, Carol. And now to close us out, Kathleen Hulster joins us. It's been a while, so we're glad you're here and we're glad you're going to be the last one. So let's hear it.
I don't know how to put the video on, but can you hear me?
I just asked you to start the video. I
Yes.
could hear you and I didn't know
How to do it?
There you
I
go.
can't find the
Well, there
button.
you are. Your video's on.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes, okay.
Yes.
This is called feasible, doable, viable, invisible. Double gridded world, crossed and salted. Uneasiness, etching fog, everything liable to shift. Instability or free fall. Seeing strains to anchor understanding, and fleeting reality guards her secrets. Only an instant divides the picture composed and the image dissolved. Puddles of feasible, doable, viable. Sometimes we tramp through the mists, sure of steps, solid and material selves, confidently holding truth in both hands. More often, we slip through the ether, waves of inchoate particles mixed with what we think we discern. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't switch over right away. I think Brian asked if he wanted to read one more time.
Yeah, if that's okay, I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay,
Want to
so,
do an encore? I got no problem.
Okay, because I didn't read in this round yet, so let's go ahead and do this. It's called Of Mice and Monopoly. I've been shaving daily since I was 16. I used to be a diligent daily shaver. I never skipped shaving for longer than 3 days. If I got a little case of the flu or bronchitis, maybe a week. Beards with too much growth can get both itchy and sweaty. But after I moved to Maine in 2001 at age 35, my first winter as a Mainer, I threw clean cut convention to the wind. Maintaining a beard is not overly easy. Deciding on a shape and keeping it trimmed properly can be harrowing, to say the least. There are beard oils and other such products to improve the wily appearance of beard hair for people like me whose beards resemble wire-haired terriers. Unfortunately, these products cause me to break out. Maintaining even sculpting is something I often fail at, so as a rule, I completely shave off my beard 2 or 3 times a year. I call it balding my face. I recently had minor routine surgery. I balded my face the day before I checked in the hospital. Recovery provided me 6 weeks of all types of pain and other side effects. My beard was fully ignored and never sculpted or trimmed. It became an unkempt rat's nest. Finally, close to 3 months after the day before the surgery, I balded my face. I put newspaper in the sink to catch the hair. When I looked down, there was movement. A small family of mice were climbing through the hair in the sink. The father, who was wearing a very expensive-looking fedora, wagged his index paw at me and yelled, "How dare you destroy our home? You'll be hearing from my lawyer." A few years back, after my Uncle Sam died, my brothers and I went to Tucson to clean his home. He had been homebound due to arthritis, which we discovered after he didn't travel to my mother's funeral. Actually, a neighbor checked in on him and his partner, who had Parkinson's, every now and then. He was able to Uber to grocery stores and cook until it became difficult. Then the neighbor cooked meals for them and stored them in the refrigerator. After his death, we tried starting his car to no avail. We opened the hood to discover several vermin nests. AAA tried to start it, then told us it probably hadn't been driven in over 2 or 3 years before they towed it to the junkyard. Unlike my beard, the nest residents and Uncle Sam's SUV had abandoned their nest. Unfortunately, the father mouse living in my beard came from old money and hired the best human lawyer in the state of Maine. I was sued for my home. Somehow, the time the mouse family lived in my facial hair gave them squatters' rights to my house and potential co-ownership, despite that they weren't listed on the deed and never contributed to upkeep or bills. Somehow, the fact that I was unaware a family of mice thrived in my beard ecosystem was equivocated to the added ignorance of the law is no excuse. We entered into mediation. The mice are very clean, sanitary people. They reside in a guest bedroom and share the utility bills and property taxes. We sometimes play Monopoly marathons like my human family did when I was growing up. The mother mouse had attended the Cordon Bleu and has been giving me gourmet cooking lessons. I play checkers and backgammon with the kids who call me Uncle Brian. The father has taken it upon himself to teach me chess. He humors me after every game he wins that one day I'll whoop his ass. Of course, as a youth, he studied under a famous Russian chess master. He has warned me to never grow out my wily wire-haired terrier beard again, because I might consider it a rat's nest, but to a family of rats, it's a luxury home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Franco. And with that, we're going to close out the first open mic of Stone Soup's 53rd year in progress. We will, we're 52 years old, horrifically looking young. We are going to keep on going, and I'll have more features announced very shortly. So thank you guys for your patience. Hopefully we'll be able to find an in-person location, gathering place, especially for the summer. I have friends who are going to be coming from other states. It would be great to have them there. So we'll let you know what's going on.
Where are you located exactly? You're in the Boston area somewhere, right?
We used to be in the Boston area. I mean, we're primarily in the Boston area, but we just lost our gallery space last month in the Seaport area. So we're scrambling for another spot.
Okay, because I live in Maine, so it's not that far a drive.
Okay, good. Well, excellent. And thank you guys all for coming. We'll do one quick wave. I know. Thank you for Patricia for showing the initiative. And
Hi,
Appreciate-
everyone. Hey,
Appreciate
Ethan.
you all coming.
Hey,
and we
Brian,
will,
Nancy, Carol again. Robert, good to see everyone here.
We will see you all next time, people, and keep on going and stay tuned for some more updates with Stone Soup. There's gonna be some new additions and little surprises coming up for the rest of the month. You guys take care of yourselves and have a good night.
Happy anniversary. Bye.
Happy anniversary.